Hi, everybody. Welcome. Sorry for that for me coming in kind of slow. I was clicking on the wrong button. I couldn't figure out what was going on. So, hi, everybody. Recently, I've been getting a few questions from folks asking if I would do some tools videos, some quilting or sewing tools videos. Well, I used to do a series called Good Gadgets. And you can still find those videos in my YouTube channel here. In fact, I'll post one at the end that you can take a look at. But I thought I'd start them up again, and we'll do them like my top favorites or the difference between kind of things or faves or stuff, something like that. And that's what we're going to do today. Today, we're going to do the top fabric turning tools versus a stiletto. So welcome everybody. I'm Diana here at Sew in Common. I'm the owner, the educator, and the designer here at Sew in Common. Welcome to my quilting world. So again, today we're going to talk about top fabric turning tools and stilettos, because I know that there are some of you out there that use one tool for fabric turning and stilettoing, I guess, if you can use that as a verb. And really, I want to share with you today why you should really have a tool for fabric turning and one to use as your stiletto. Okay. I'll kind of tell you what the difference is and why I think you should have one of each. And I'll go over some different ones. I'll show you some different ones, and I'll link some of my favorites below for you as well. So let's first talk about the difference between a stiletto and a fabric turning tool. So I know that a lot of you have an item that looks like this, and it may be a different color. And I know some of you have items like this one, and some of you have items like this one. Do you know what the difference is? This is a stiletto, right? This is a fabric turning tool. And let me tell you when you would need both. If you're making your squares in the hoop for your quilts, you're piecing in the hoop, which is what we do here at Sew in Common so often, and you are folding this piece over and holding it down until it can be stitched down, you don't want to put your finger in here. See? Now, that wasn't because I got caught by a needle. That was because I got caught by a rotary cutter. First time in over 55 years of quilting and sewing, I got caught by mine and had to get a couple stitches in there. But so you don't want to put your finger on here. Now you could use fabric glue if you wanted, but the easy thing to do is to use a stiletto, something that has a point. That's why it's called a stiletto. You know what stilettos are if you love high heels, because stiletto heels are very popular. You hold it down with this, it keeps your fingers out of the way, and you don't end up with a blue finger like I have. Okay, that's a stiletto. Now, for a fabric turning tool, you have an item and you're turning it inside out. You've done all the sewing, you've taken it out of your embroidery hoop, or you've finished sewing it on your sewing machine, and you need to turn it inside out, and you need to get your corners nice and crisp. So on this one, I hope I can do this with my finger all bandaged up. I just generally turn things inside out roughly. Yeah, you can see what it is. It's my little bunny. Then you take a fabric turning tool and you put it up in your corners. You trace around the edges of your seams and you put it up into your corners, and don't push it, okay? Because if you push it, you're going to go through the fabric, even with a fabric turning tool sometimes. So I put it up into the corner, and then I take my hand and I shape my corner around it, right? And then I can run my fabric turning tool along my seams, get those nice and straight, come back over here. Again, I'm not poking it with this. I've just got this up into the corner, and I'm melding it around it, okay? And that way, when I'm done, I've got nice corners, and I haven't popped through the seam, which can make you need to have to go back and sew it again and can cause all kinds of craziness to go on. And, you know, we like to keep craziness from happening. So this tool is a fabric turning tool. What's the difference, you say? It's still kind of long like this. It still has some sort of a point. But do you notice the point on this one? Can you see it very well? It's a round ball point. And in my opinion, that round ball point makes this the perfect fabric turning tool, because a round ball point will help you to mold over your corners. It will help you to mold your seams, and it's much more difficult to pop through the seam. If I were doing that with this, I could easily, now this is old and pretty much set in its ways, but I could easily pop right through there, and I could easily pop through my seams. So stilettos are too sharp. So that brings me to the idea of folks that say, oh, I use a chopstick, or oh, I use a knitting needle for all of the turning and things like that. Here's why you don't want to do that. Here's one of my small little, this is a little knitting, double pointed knitting needle that I use for heels when I knit socks, for like the last little stitches. Or if I'm going to fix something and I only have a few stitches, I use this little guy. But he was the one I had at hand to show you. The reason you don't want to use your knitting needle is, even though this is kind of a rounded point, it's still really pointy. That will go through your seam and cause you to have to do extra work, or it might rip a hole that can't be easily fixed in your project. So that's why I say nix the knitting needle as a turning tool. If you want to use it as a stiletto, yeah, that's fine. Perfect as a stiletto, not so much as a turning tool. What about the chopstick? Now, I didn't have a chopstick to bring with me today, but there are two kinds of chopsticks that I've seen in all the years that I've been using them to eat my Chinese food when we get a takeaway. And that is a very pointy-ended one, kind of like this one. Here, there you can see that better. Very pointy. And there are some that are a more flat, rounded off kind of a chopstick. Those you could get away with for your turning tool. Either of them would be fine to use as your stiletto, but I tend not to like either of them, because chopsticks are made by the bazillions and they're not always finished well. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten splinters from my chopsticks trying to use them as stilettos and turning tools. So I say spend a few dollars and get yourself a good tool. So here are some other tools. This one, you might have something like this that's purple, called the purple thing. Well, you can get them now in all kinds of colors. I've got them like in green, pink, blue, this orange. I think I even have a yellow one, and I have some purple ones somewhere too. Because at one point I thought these were the best things since sliced bread for turning tools. Let me show you. It's got kind of a little bit of a bend to it, which actually, when you're putting it in your corners and all, can be okay. This, in my opinion, is a wee bit on the pointy sharp side as a turning tool. Makes a great stiletto. And because of this little slit right here, this little hole, you can put ribbon through it or your fabric through it if you're pulling through a casing for something, to use it to turn something inside out. Your purple thing or your orange thing, whatever color you have, works great for that. And I say, go for it, use it. And it's also great as a stiletto. Just as a turning tool for getting your corners and stuff, this is not my favorite, okay? I love them, I use them, but I don't use them for turning my corners. Here's another tool that's similar to that. This one is by the Clover brand, and you can always tell Clover, they're that very distinctive color with a very distinctive green on them. And this is specifically for turning casings, right? Let me see if I can get my finger in there. There you go. You unclip it here, and then you've got this little alligator clip here, and you would put your piece there, hold it down. And then with this end, you can turn it and run your casing through and turn it inside out. And this works beautifully for that. It could also be used as a stiletto, but it's a little bit bendy as a stiletto, so probably not my favorite choice as a stiletto. Perfect for casings. Would I use this for turning my corners? Well, let's look at this. Let's look at this edge, this point. It's pretty rounded. I mean, it comes to a point, but it's pretty rounded. And I will say I kind of like it for corners, and I'll show you why. When I put it up in here and I'm running, because this is so flexible, when I put this up in here and I'm molding my corner around it, like I can really move this around in there because of this being flexible, because I don't really need it to be more than just the point that is, and it keeps me, if I try to accidentally, if I start like pushing on it, because it's flexible, it really doesn't have enough, it's going to flex before it pokes through my fabric. So really, this little guy is great for turning your casings and things, or you can use it to turn your corners as well. And I like it because that bendiness in it kind of keeps you from getting enough push on there if you accidentally start pushing before you start molding, from pushing it through your corners or your seams. Now, here is another ball pointed one. This one has a larger ball point here and a smaller ball point here. I love this one. This one is by O.E.S.D. Okay, so if you're embroiderers, you've heard of O.E.S.D. Excuse me, I need to take coffee sip. It is allergy season and my throat gets all kind of blocked up a little bit, so coffee helps. But with this one from O.E.S.D, I love it because you've got a larger and a smaller end. So if you need to get into small little delicate places, that end is perfect. If you need bigger one, here. But let's go back to this one. This is an R&K, Robert Kaufman, I believe. I love this one, but it is a single-ended one, and so it's only the one size. But if you look, let me hold these up with my hand again so you can see. You can see that the R&K one, which is this one here, yeah, I'll make sure I got my finger on the right one, is smaller than the larger point on the O.E.S.D one, but it is slightly bigger than the small end on the O.E.S.D, just slightly, but enough. So here's what I say. This one, the R&K, perfect every time for turning your corners, running along your seams. I don't really use this for my stiletto because it's metal. If I get in there, there's not a lot of distance here on this end. And so it would be very easy for me to catch the foot of my machine or something, or my needle on this metal. You're talking about a broken needle, a broken foot, trips to the maintenance for the machine. So I don't use metal ones as my stilettos. But what I recommend is getting yourself one of each of these. Now, let me just say here, all of these things I'm showing you are just things that I use and things that I like. I'm not being sponsored. No one sent me any of these. This is just my tips and tricks on these for you guys. So I think that as turning tools, I have both of these. That way I have a small, a medium, and a large ball point to use for the perfect project. So I have the perfect size for each project that I'm doing. Okay. So double-ended O.E.S.D. I know you can find that on their website, or probably any fabric shop, that quilting shop that, or embroidery shop that carries O.E.S.D products. I bet you can find one. And then this R&K one, which I just love this one too. Okay. Now, those are my favorite turning tools. Okay. Let's talk about stilettos again. This one right here, one reason I love this one is because it not only has a handle, now this is all round and stuff here, but up here, it's kind of a triangular shape. And can you see, it's going to be really hard to see that. There's ribbing here on these three sides. So when you hold it, you've got a hold of it. You're not going to accidentally slide. Your fingers aren't going to slide like my finger did. Okay. I like that this is plastic-ish, but it doesn't bend. It's very hard. So it works great as a stiletto. It's a little too pointy as a turning tool, but it's a great stiletto. I like this one. This one is by Fons and Porter. Okay. And they actually call it Machine Quilter's Friend, the ultimate stiletto. So they even say this is a stiletto. So I like this one. I keep one of these by my sewing machine, and I keep one by my embroidery machine as well. Because I don't have a combo machine, I have two machines. So if one breaks and has to go off for fixing, I still have another machine where I can do some sort of sewing or quilting, right? So I keep a set at both places. So I keep a set of these at both places. I mean, I didn't buy them all at once. I bought these, then I waited a few months and bought my other set. But I like having them all at my machines. And then when I travel, I have a travel set. I know I'm crazy. I am a little bit of a gadget junkie though. So now the thang, because this one isn't purple, it's orange. I keep these around specifically for turning my casing. Now, it can be used as a stiletto as well. Perfectly good for that. But I really love these for turning my casings and things like that. Along with the Clover one, okay, which is specifically for that. But again, in an emergency, I will use this one for my turning tool, because I like that I can't get enough pressure on it before it bends to plug through my fabric, to punch through my fabric. Okay. No to my knitting needles. Even though it would make a fine stiletto, I just put them away and use them for knitting. That's what they were made for. That's what they're good for. And so that's what I use them for. All right. So top turning tools, O.E.S.D double point or R&K single point. Get both of them. You have a small, medium, and large ballpoint. Perfect. Favorite stiletto right now, it's this one by Fons and Porter. I might find something else I like as a turning tool as well, but I like that this is plastic. I like that this has the grip on it, and it's easily gripped either hand. I'm a lefty, so it works great for me. And I like that this is a little bit longer, because as a lefty, I usually need a little extra room because I come at things at weird angles. So I like that that's a little bit longer. And then I like these as my for turning my casings and things. So really we covered three things: stiletto, turning tool. These are also turning tools, but I think they're specific type of turning tool versus this type of turning tool. Okay, I hope everybody enjoyed that. I am going to link again at the end here my some of my good gadget videos, but I'm going to be doing top tools, favorite tools, those kinds of things. I'll start throwing those in occasionally because I know you guys like those. I hope you liked this one. If you need to contact me, you can do that at my email, diana@sewincommon.com, or you can contact me in comments over on our Facebook group called Sew in Common, or you can leave your comments right here in the comments of this video. Just to let you all know, we have a block of the month. It's completely free. All of our piecing is done on our embroidery machine, so you do need an embroidery machine, but the patterns are free for the year of 2023. So you can go to our website, and let me find that. There we go. You can go to our website, www.sewincommon.com. We have all of our patterns and things over there, but all the block of the month pieces are free for 2023, and it'll say that on there. We have a new video that was just out. This is not part of the block of the month. This was a bonus, mastering the offset half square triangle. And I know a lot of you like it. A lot of you have watched this video, and I've had to refill the pattern section at the website on this one once already. So I'm glad you guys like this one. It's a great filler block. It's a great block to put 4 of them together in different configurations to make kind of fun, different kinds of blocks, especially if you're someone who likes to do more modern quilting. You can really play and have fun with that. So you can check all of that out over at our website. And if you like this video, if you like the Good Gadgets videos or any of our others, please subscribe to our Sew in Common channel here on YouTube. We have reached, oh, I almost forgot to announce it. We've reached 3,500 subscribers. I'm so thrilled about that, you guys. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I love it that you love what we're doing here at Sew in Common. We have grown this just since January. Now, I know that some of those folks out there that have millions of viewers and blah, that's great for them. But for me, that 3,500 of you love what we do here at Sew in Common and are having fun doing your piecing in the hoop and learning about tools and stuff and all with me, that fills me with great joy. So I appreciate and love every single one of you. So if you're new to us, please subscribe. I know some of you watch and haven't subscribed yet because YouTube gives me a little bit of information. So if you've been watching and you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and be part of the group, because sometimes I put things out that just go to the subscribers, lots of free goodies and stuff. So subscribe and join us. We'd love to have you for sure. And click that little bell to get your notifications. And at the end of all my videos, regardless of the topic, I always tell you the one thing I believe about quilters and embroiderers and sewists: we sew life beautiful. The things we make, the quilts we make and put out into the world truly make our world a more beautiful place. So until next time, everybody, sew life beautiful. Go get yourself some good fabric turning tools and stilettos. Bye for now, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Just a quick correction in this video. I accidentally said RNK Robert Kaufman. No, absolutely not. Robert Kaufman Fabrics is different than RNK Distributing, which distributes the precision turning tool that I talk about. I just wanted to throw this in as a clarification because I didn't want anyone confused. Thanks, enjoy, and sew life beautiful.